Oh, we got thumbs up. I can't even see him. Can you see his thumbs?
No, is that a speaker?
They're in the way.
way.
Who put those there? I did. There's the thumbs. Look, we got thumbs. Jeez, that's some good thumbs. Welcome to the Not So Tender podcast. This is episode number... Dude, what is it?
I just show up.
Is it 18? Yeah.
6, 7, yeah.
It's 18.
Yeah.
We did 17 last night. 18, right, Jay? We are all like, it's been a long day already.
I just show up for Dark Tuesday.
Dark Tuesday. Hashtag fucked. I love that you came in so on fire of like, hashtag blessed. Oh my God. Then the next week you're like, fuck this shit. Brutal. All right. So welcome to the podcast. We have a special guest today, ladies and gentlemen. You have no idea. I shouldn't even let you introduce
Why
him.
not?
Well, you always. Go ahead. It's literally your person.
All right, everybody. So can I introduce the topic and then say who he is?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah?
This is your show. Go
All
ahead.
right, guys. So we're going to be talking for the first time on the
First
show.
man on the show.
First time, first male guest about men and their emotions and the dilemmas that follow. And so I invited my hubby.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
So you can say his name.
Andy.
This is Andy.
This is
Andy. Thanks for
Andy.
being the first guy on the show.
I didn't
Does
know
that feel? You didn't know that?
I didn't realize
So I've
that.
been ganged up on a lot.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah. So it's brutal sometimes, but not really.
I'm a little bit behind on the
That's
viewing,
all right.
so I
That's all right.
was not aware
He's
that
super
I was the first.
supportive.
Not in watching. Just click and
Right.
subscribe. Click and subscribe down below.
Yeah.
Andy doesn't, but we might.
It's fine.
I do.
He's like, I mow the grass. Shit. Yeah, that doesn't count, Andy. We need likes and subscribes and views, bud. Just let it play. You don't have to watch it. Just let it play.
Over and over and over.
How was your week? I've seen you exactly a week ago.
It's all right.
Shit, it is not
It's
getting better,
no,
huh?
it's the season. What did you call it last?
Cuffing
cuffing
season. Cuffing. What?
Cuffing up.
Cuffing season.
Cuffing season.
Yeah. Girls are trying to find a guy to take them to the fucking
Bring
pumpkin
'em
patch.
home. Meanwhile, every client on my caseload is actively trying to leave their husband or split from their wife
Because
or
they're trying to get to
breaking
that
up.
pumpkin patch before the
I
season's over.
guess.
that
I
checks
guess.
out.
Why do
No.
you-
I was blissfully unaware
Yeah,
that it was cuffing season.
it is.
No.
Well, you're married.
Well, no one's trying to cuff me though.
I mean, I hope not, because that would be a different fucking show, and I don't think we're prepared for that. I can get prepared for it very quickly, but I don't think
I'm
y'all
not
can.
prepared. That's not why I brought you on the show today.
So yeah, cuffing season for sure.
No, it's splitting season on my caseload, and in-laws have kind of cycled back
Yeah,
up.
because you got to deal
Because you
with
have,
holidays.
yes, everybody is like, we have exactly like a month and a half to figure out how in the hell we're going to interact with this side of the family or these
Snipers.
family members. They're wicked.
Snipers.
So
That's how you take care of those family members. Appalachia.
no, I teach them assertive communication.
What, hugs?
No, hold your boundaries and be respectful.
Listen, boundaries, trust, all these beautiful words.
They're on our
They're everywhere. There's some
countertop.
good words on here. I was going to put some funny words in there too, but. So your week was not getting much better, huh?
Just-
They're in it.
Yeah.
Do you think they're just so upset because they don't know what to dress up like? Do you think they want to dress up like your ex-wife for Halloween?
Listen, we do matching couples costumes every year.
Or for
And
your in your counseling?
No.
Could you imagine
Andy
if that's
and
like,
I-
listen, during their intake, just let you know,
Just so
we
you know.
do couples.
This is the theme.
It's a bonding thing.
It's a theme. This year we're doing, I'll just tell my clients, we're doing
This
Winnie the
is
Pooh
what you
cast.
signed up for.
Do you want to be Tigger or a Piglet or...
Do you think it would be harder to? Do you think it's harder for a couple to pick costumes together or a vacation? What do you think would be more difficult?
couple costumes?
I do too, because they would take it so
Costumes for sure.
personal.
They would take it so serious.
Like, because they don't want to be embarrassed, or they want to be super embarrassed.
No,
or,
so Andy always drags his feet like in picking, but then once we pick, he gets so committed, like 4 days prior.
I would always, if I was Andy, I would make you dress up like the guy from Toy Story, and I would just write my name on the bottom of your boot. That's our costume.
That is
Period.
Not fun, sir.
That's it.
Not fun.
We could be the cowgirl, I guess. What's her name?
I can't remember.
Jesse.
Yeah, Jessie. That's okay.
This is Jesse and I'm Andy.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of got a Jesse vibe. You're rooting and tooting. Yeah.
Next year, babe.
Right. You just write Andy on the bottom of her boot. Don't even dress up. Just wear cowgirl boots and just put Andy on the bottom and be like, what's your thing?
Right.
And I'm like, duh. Just put your foot up. Andy. I would do it on the bottom of every one of her fucking shoes. She's at the airport, put her really every time.
Every time.
Well, I'm sorry your couples. Actually, I'm glad your couples are going through that because it keeps you fucking in business.
There is no shortage. Job security. All the time.
It is that weird time of year. I could feel it. It really is that, everybody's kind of struggling right now. They're trying to either hold on or push away. Do you think they just don't want to buy gifts?
I love buying gifts.
I know, but you think some of these girls and guys are like, I just can't buy shit for this fucking idiot anymore.
It gets more and more pricey every holiday that goes by.
Man.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess depending on the level of commitment, that could be a real thing. Like,
Yeah. 100%.
I'm over it. I don't want to put the thought, the effort into buying this person a gift again this year.
Yeah,
level of
done.
commitment or level of
Yes.
their bank account?
Yes, both. Well, if they're paying you, they're probably like, well, I would have gotten you a gift, but you wanted to go to therapy.
Right.
Could you probably have had people with that kind of like.
I have had people recently have to fall off and go from like every week to every other or every other to once a month because the holidays are coming up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if you're like, they're like, you're really not going to help us in the next 2 months because it doesn't matter how much you talk to us. Why do you?
I told a couple last night, I said, they were talking about their in-laws and I said, they will never get it. And both of them kind of sighed. And I was like, I don't say that to like be hopeless. I say that like,
Right.
we have to figure out what your boundaries are is because like they will not understand. They're in that generation that we've talked about.
Were you
that I'm
doing like
they
the
won't.
Silence of the Lamb dance, putting lipstick on when you said that? They'll never get it.
Obviously.
Like that, like making it as dark as you could possibly make it. They won't get it. And they don't have, here's the other thing. They don't fucking have to get it.
Nope.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Dude, park at the end of the driveway. Don't let anybody block you in. Hang out as long as you want.
Just
and
toss the rolls into the
leave
yard.
when you want to leave. You want to hear something crazy? I was at my nephew's wedding and very happy for them. It was a beautiful wedding. She showed up on a horse-drawn carriage. For real. Black horse, wearing a black dress. She's got like really red hair. It was just beautiful. And he looked handsome and super proud of him. And I actually married them. I performed the ceremony, which I don't know if I'm qualified to do said things, but I guess I can speak publicly.
There's a course online.
Yeah, I went through it. I didn't go through the course. I just could read. Okay.
Skimmed.
I did pretty good. I actually, well, I mean, like, I'm out in the middle of everybody, like, reading this shit, and, like, it's kind of serious. And I went into the hall waiting for, how you go in and wait for them, they take pictures, all this shit. I'm sitting with my family. And I'm like, it was so loud in there. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I can't fuck it. I need to get the fuck out of here. So I walked outside. I like got a thing of water and like walked outside. And I walked out and checked. I'm like, hey, you guys need anything? You guys good? Just to get away. So, and like your bridal parties, wonder how long you're going to be because it took a while to get photos. Really good photographer, so I could understand why. And they're like 5 minutes, get the kids out there. I was like, okay. I walked back. Hey, they got to get the kids. And as soon as like they came in, they introduced the bridesmaids and groomsmen. Is that what they're called? Okay. And they all go in, and they introduced, them to everyone. And as soon as they introduced them, I clapped, and I literally just walked and got my Bronco and left. I didn't say goodbye to no one, my mother, my aunt, my sister, my niece. And I weirdly, I didn't feel bad.
Didn't feel anything about
Because
it.
I was like, me being there has nothing to do with them having a good time or anything like that. So I think they all understood because I didn't get any text messages like, hey, did you fall in? Hey, are you alive?
Right.
I think they understood. But I was just like, nah. And it was beautiful, and I was very honored to have me do that with them. But I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. And I don't think sometimes you have to do some shit. You got to be uncomfortable. But I was like halfway there. You know what I mean? I got all dressed up. They all looked pretty handsome. It was good. It was nice. Yeah. Fucking horse-drawn carriage. That's some extra shit. Looked good.
Bougie.
It looked nice.
Fairy tale wedding.
Yeah, it was really nice. Well, she was a horse girl. You know what I mean? She was into riding horses. So, and everybody was so nice. It was really a beautiful thing, man. So, and on that, today's topic. Oh, so how we landed on today's topic also is I got
how
a
was
phone.
your week?
Well, I got a phone call from one of my best friends saying that one of his other good friends is actually no longer with us. He couldn't, be here anymore. He took his own life, and it hit my friend hard. It hit me hard, and we had a conversation that morning, and just how men don't have as much of a support group. Like men in their late 30s, early 40s and up really do not have the same kind of support as a young man would have, because we were just raised by different people. And not blaming anybody, but like if a man doesn't have the support, that's the third friend that we've had take their own life in the last 2 years that are in their 50s. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're older than me, but like, dude, that's heavy. And we're not talking about we're talking about people that are smart and successful and good at what they do. We're not talking about like low rung, you know what I mean? Like mental issue, like repeated, you know what I mean? Like we're talking about people that actually handle their life really above average.
Not to discredit those who don't.
No, I'm not saying, no.
Right.
I'm just saying, well, my thing is, we know that the people that are struggling, we automatically give them more support.
Outwardly.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But the guy that we see that runs his own business and does all these guys, that's the point I was kind of making. Is like the one that you don't suspect, the guy who crosses all his T's and dot all his I's, they're the ones like, and it bummed my friend out. Yeah, I could just hear it in him. You know what I mean? And it made me, and that's when I was like, hey, I know what we're talking about this week. Then you call me back and you're like, I'm bringing my husband. I was like, oh, shit. Shit is real.
We want to talk. I have a guy for that.
So men expressing how they feel. We struggle with it really hard. And then we're going to go to a little worksheet that tells us a lot of reasons why, and we can touch on them. Mm-hmm. I know personally the way I was raised, I was very fortunate that we were allowed to talk about, how we feel, which helps. Helps me not be super struggling. And even then it's hard, but it's weird that men don't get the support. They like women want them to be vulnerable, but there's like a threshold where if you're too vulnerable, you're weak. Or it gets weaponized and, sent back at you at the most random times that makes it very uncomfortable. And then you shut down. I don't know about you, but if I share something with somebody and when they're in a bad mood or we're fighting about something and they shit it back at me, I turn that valve off and it'll never be back on. I'm just like this, and I break it off and I'm like, no, I'm done with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely when you feel comfortable enough to open up to someone and then you get shit on in return, that for me personally, that automatically I will never open up to that person again.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, it probably makes it a little difficult to open up to anyone else.
Yeah.
I found myself doing it. I did, and I realized recently, like, I had somebody's like, why didn't you ever share this stuff with me? Like, and I had to really think about it. I'm like, why don't I share things? Like new projects, new art, new music. And it's because somebody was like, can you just shut the fuck up about the band? And I was like,
yeah,
done.
Kind of deflates your spirit. Like,
well, I'm going to avoid shit.
Yeah.
If I know I get a flat tire every time I go through an alley, I'm not going through that alley anymore. No, I'm good. But then it screws the next person that would like to hear about it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if we purposely flop through life, like finding the polar opposite of the previous person, but it seems to kind of find that sometimes.
Yeah.
But having trust, be careful what you ask for. If you're asking for somebody to be vulnerable, that's a big understanding to you and a big thing with trust. And if you villainize it back at them or weaponize it more, not really villainize, but weaponize it back at them, that's a pretty huge breach of trust. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So, Let's touch on some of these. What's the first one? Kelly?
Well,
Kelly
so these
reads so
are-
much better than me. I did
these-
enough reading this week at the wedding.
15 reasons why men don't talk about their feelings. Don't, can't, won't. All in the same bucket, I suppose.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of it scares me, man.
Yeah.
Grown ass men.
Right. Well, and even some of the verbiage that you used, you said I was allowed to talk about my feelings growing up. There's a big difference between allowed and encouraged.
I was
know,
encouraged. I would say
Yeah,
both.
just to
I
clarify,
was
but
both.
yeah, I mean, there
Yeah.
are definitely people who I have.
Nobody made us feel bad.
Yeah.
I didn't. I can
Right.
speak for myself, and I'm talking to men or women.
Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky. I didn't realize how lucky I was because it was just normal.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't be too much of a sissy, but even the girls couldn't be too much of a sissy because
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to be a sissy.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
that was not
like
my,
that reasonable.
Not my experience.
Yeah,
We didn't talk about feelings.
no, yeah, like don't have them. That's how you talked about them.
Yeah, like
Oh, you got
just,
feelings?
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Piss
just-
on them.
Right. Well, just handle them.
Yeah.
Like they assumed that I had them, and then it was like
Deal with it.
reach out if you need help, but like I'm
Ish.
gonna cross my hands over here and like watch,
Ish.
And I had a very blessed childhood, but that was not one of the supports that I got at a young age.
At least you got the other stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Well, we
why I
want
said
you
very
to
blessed.
feel supported, but we don't want to actually have to support you.
Well,
So
they
if
don't
you
know
could just
how.
hold it together.
Yeah, right,
We
yeah.
want you to feel like you're supported.
Yeah.
They didn't
Well,
know how to.
Right. And that's some of that intergenerational
Yeah.
stuff that we came from. They did not get the support. So they were like trying something new by like saying it's okay
Yeah.
if you have feelings, but then didn't necessarily know what to do with them if I had them. So then I just kind of pivoted to like others that could be beneficial.
100%.
But being a female, that's a lot different. I just went to my girlfriends who all wanted to talk about our feelings, and your guys'
That's dangerous.
experience is not.
Yeah, we talk
is
about
not the
feelings.
same.
Like, man, that band makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
I like that truck.
Yeah.
My son pissed me off.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just got to get the fuck
No.
out of that house.
Happy and mad. That's all you guys
Right.
are allowed. All right. So number one, it says it's a neurological thing. So number one kind of breaks down. There's a lot of clinical terms in here that I'm not going to even
Scratch this.
try to
Something's
pronounce.
wrong with your brain, son.
Men's brains are
Whoa.
created and developed differently. It says here that women can have the ability to think and feel at the same time, while men, those two things are not attached. Like the synapses are not, they don't
Seriously?
go. Yeah. Yes.
Well, we're done here. Thank
Right.
you. Now
Ta-da!
leave everybody alone.
Leave men
That explains
alone,
everything.
right.
And we're done. Turn off the microphone.
Right. So they have the capability, but it is not something that is natural for them to think about their feelings and then feel about their thinkings, and like put those two things together and then communicate them.
I'm thinking something right now.
Are you thinking that you've been shit on and the whole time you just needed number one?
No, I mean, truthfully, obviously men think differently.
Sure.
It's a pretty easy concept to understand.
But I'm curious because some men are more emotional than others, just like more women are emotional than others.
100%.
So I wonder
But
what their
it's-
brain looks like.
I'm sure.
Because it's talking about like lighting up like brain studies and how like when discussing emotions, women's brains are more reactive than men's brain. Like
But when you say a man's more emotional, it still doesn't mean that he can feel and think at the same time.
that's true.
He's just feeling more than he's thinking.
Right.
That's all.
Well, and where does this fall with the way that the world is today, where genders are?
Well, we could. That's
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
Yeah.
that's a wavy gray line right there. So
Yeah,
it is,
I don't
right.
know. I question everything, so
Right.
it just kind of.
I'm gonna say inherently, we still have roles as humans. I mean, like obviously you can fall a little bit more towards one or the other, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna say inherently, the consensus is
Right. DNA is DNA.
yeah.
That's what it's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's,
So
it's not so much of more what you identify as, it's more of just like actual parts.
Yeah.
Right.
Man.
yeah.
That's
X
hard,
and X
right?
or X and Y.
It's tough.
Right.
Well, I mean, that would be a hard question to answer. I mean, that's way deeper than I'm willing to.
That's a whole
even-
science episode.
Yeah, we'd have to have
The
Bill
scientist.
Nye.
one. Yeah.
I guess I was reading a little bit last night, and that kind of came to mind because a lot of the studies and stuff have in mind that they want to. It's like preventative awareness type of stuff, but if we're we're talking about the male and the female brains, that's going to shut down a big audience, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not going to get through to a lot of people
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we look at the genetics.
Well, I mean, to a point, you know, but it's your brain's going to work how it works, and unless you go have it checked out, I don't think you can even speak on it unless you're literally
yeah.
having it lit. You know,
Right. Have it lit up and say, does
yeah.
it,
So
does
that's
it look
a hard
like a
thing.
woman's or does
I know,
it look
and
like
you're not
a
really
man's?
shutting it off. You're just,
Yeah.
I think you're just having an open conversation about, you know, that minds react differently.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that. But they're saying, I mean, it's. I won't
I'm
even
getting
say
way
it's
off topic here.
Yeah, it's okay. You go deep. It's okay. But you were just reading something, so it's right.
Yeah.
It's further up in the front of your brain.
Yeah.
Right.
for sure.
But I'll say this, you know, I mean, we're talking about men, you know, so I don't know if somebody thinks, you know, or feels like they're a man, then maybe their brain works that way. It's beyond my, you know,
Right.
That's a good point.
you know, so
Well, so this is interesting. It says women tend to have more language related areas that focus on communication, and men tend to have more areas with stronger connections built around spatial awareness and reasoning.
100%.
So they're built to problem solve.
We have to.
Right.
We are hunters and gatherers. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like you have to be or you die.
Right.
So it's thousands of years of DNA. I mean,
My
it's,
son and I just had this whole conversation
really,
about
you're like, go
about-
kill a rabbit with your
No.
bare hands, son.
well, about
Yes.
he made a comment about a girl being a tomboy, and I was like, well, that's a thing. And he was
100%.
like, yeah, he's like, but like women weren't made as hunters and gatherers. Like that's why we're better at it. And I was like, oh, this is
That's
that
well, I would say
always
it's not better. I mean, I'm sure there's a woman that can hunt and gather way better than
Right.
some men, but
Right.
okay, these are very.
I
But
know,
in general,
I know.
I'm going to say if you drop people in the middle of a place with no cell phones and no things, it would find its natural order very fucking quickly. And I'm
Mm-hmm. Right.
going to assume that the girls aren't going to be putting fucking mud on their face and going out and building spears
Right.
by the droves,
Right.
and boys are just going to be like, we got to do some shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so it's not like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
women can't do it. Like, it's not
we
about
can.
that.
I'd
you know?
hunt, but I ain't building a
Right.
house. I'm not chopping wood.
I have an interesting question.
Mm.
Let's get through this first one first.
Okay. I mean, that's it's a neurological thing. That
Starting.
is number one.
You have to accept that first.
Yes. That we
Well,
are
that's a
coming
good
from. It
base.
says women are from.
Well, it's like
what,
a diesel
Venus, men
or
are from
you
Mars,
know, or
yeah.
a regular gas engine. They're very different, you know,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
both do the same kind of thing, just different.
Right.
And they
Mm-hmm.
take different fuel.
That's true.
Next.
It's a good analogy.
Afraid of saying something wrong.
Oh, if I can, I just
Don't
thought
say
of
anything
something.
wrong.
No, I just thought of something. So I've learned and adapted in having a daughter that women don't always just want you to fix things, and it is our natural instinct to try to problem solve, to try to fix the problem, right? Like come up with solutions. You give me a problem, here's some solutions.
Her worth,
Right.
all of our worth is based on that.
Yeah. But I started to start off conversations when they, you know, if people are coming to me, I'll say, are you looking for an ear to just vent, or are you looking for a solution? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That way I can kind of gauge what my response needs to be. Do I just need to be supportive, or do you need do you
Right.
have a problem that needs fixed?
Yeah.
So,
That helps.
Right. Are you
been
looking
helpful,
for
yeah.
help? Right.
yeah.
That's easy. That's an easy way to do it. I just try to just listen for a while, and then I ask some questions, you know, because and kind of help them find out their own little
Yeah.
answer.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more.
Right. No, my son is pretty good. Like he'll come to me and like I'll listen, you know, while I'm cooking, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, "Mom," I'm like, "What?" He's like, "What do I do?" And I'm like, "Oh, you want help? You want input?"
Yeah.
And
At least
like,
you can ask for that, though.
yeah, right.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm like,
You
all
know,
right, well, yeah, totally fine.
she's a tomboy, but I think she's hot.
Right.
I don't know what to do.
What if she beats me at a sport?
Well, then get better at it, bud. Wing her. Hurt her ankle. Something. Get an edge. Push her down the stairs.
Lord,
What?
Give her the lumber.
Yeah.
I guess right.
This family is winners. That's what you need
That's
to
true.
tell
And that's what I would tell him.
Bring
Like,
your
don't date
loser
somebody
ass
that's
home.
better than you.
Or do, and you leave.
Right.
Bring her home.
Right.
You go.
Right. Yeah. Swap her out.
Mm-hmm.
Tag her in. We could use a winner.
Savage.
It's true. All right. Number
Hashtag
two,
Dark
again,
Tuesday.
afraid of saying something wrong. So because this kind of breaks it down and says, like, because it's not natural, they're often processing and trying to make connections in the moment. So they're thinking out loud and identifying emotions that they're experiencing now, which isn't always true.
I'm gonna
Like for them, is
okay.
what this is.
And not just that. Have you ever had that moment where you're demanding an answer? Someone's demanding an answer. No, you're going to tell me now. And I'm like, you probably, if you're pushing for an answer, I'm asking for a moment to like, if you say something wrong, it literally goes in your bank and it's always there. And you're
ledger.
like, do you remember in 1987 when you blinked twice and you said this? And there's no forgiveness for it.
Right.
And most of the time it came out of like a random thought where you know, or it was just in the heat of the moment or something.
Right.
And saying something wrong, it never goes away.
Right. Yeah.
It's like posting something on Twitter. You know what I mean? It's like relationship Twitter. It's there forever.
Definitely.
It's scary to say something wrong. Because once you say something wrong, now what would you say to somebody when somebody does that to them? Like if they're like, well, you said this. Well, I'm like, yeah, but we were having a moment. I wasn't really thinking about it because we don't give people enough time to answer.
No.
And we're normally asking questions we already know the fucking answer to, which
hate
is
that.
fucking abusive as shit. And dumb and a waste of time, by the way. You could be folding clothes or sweeping or something. Men, too. I'm not saying that's
Right.
women's work.
Yeah.
Please don't think that because, you know, insert bad joke here. See? Growing. Growing.
I'm impressed.
So afraid of saying something wrong. And that goes
Yeah.
back to your childhood as well, because if you say something wrong and you get yelled at by your parent or you're someone that's,
You get in trouble.
yeah.
You say the wrong thing at school, you say the wrong thing at home. It goes in here that often because it's not as organic for men, that sometimes they'll identify their emotion wrong. So they'll say that they're mad, right? And so clinically, I have a lot of conversations with men and women that like, usually I go into like the color chart, you know, like yellow, red, and blue, sad, mad, happy. And then there's like all of these other secondary colors. And so,
Periwinkle.
right. So it's common that I have to say, like, I understand that you're mad. Anger organically and naturally is my instinct. Like my first emotional response is typically anger. But I know that about
Everybody's
myself.
looking at your husband's face like,
I know. It's
He's
true.
like,
He knows,
confirmed.
right?
like this. Help me. He's sort of blinking. He's doing this shit. He's like,
he has a little cue card over here that he just holds up.
No, I have been blessed in that way that I've never experienced her anger toward
oh,
me.
you're doing something right, Andy.
Well,
That's why
see,
he's
so
still
I
here.
don't say the wrong thing because I answer really slowly.
Nice.
That way I let it go through my brain and before
Mm-hmm.
it comes out of
Right.
my mouth.
As you're putting on headgear, like you're getting ready to spar. You know, you're like, she's like, I need an answer. And you're like, I'm working on it.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I make sure that it is how I feel and what I want to come out of my mouth before I say it.
When I pause altogether and I'll just be like, I will listen and allow you to process, but I know I'm a next day person. We've had that conversation on the show before. Like I'm a next day person, but like that took time and independent growth on his end before I was ever in the picture and vice versa. So this is going back to kind of like if they haven't done individual work, or even if they have and there's a triggering situation that comes up,
Nobody likes
we
to be
can't
wrong.
expect them to hit the nail on the head every single time and not offend somebody, or it goes into like being judged or feeling weak or being critiqued. That
You'd almost get more annoyed if they were right all the time.
probably
You'd be
women
fucked that way,
women
too.
hate that.
I know. Isn't that great?
I enjoy
Just be
being
reasonably
right all the
shitty,
time.
buds.
Right.
Just be reasonably shitty, and they'll stay with you forever.
Yeah. Number 3 is
Hashtag angry as fuck.
Be wrong about the right things.
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
The insignificant things.
Which is
Then you
whenever
can
you
teach-
deem,
then you can
deem
teach us
insignificant
things.
at that moment.
Then you have the blessing, the honor of teaching us things.
Oh,
Mansplaining.
Right. No, those are the wrong things to be right about. So this is a good one. I'd be curious to know how you guys feel about this. So number 3 is men express their feelings through action more than through words.
100%. I do.
Tell me more.
I'll tell you more. Because men are based on the fruits of their labor. We are not based on our minds. Very few men are based on their minds. And most guys, even though those guys are extremely blessed and have accolades because of using their mind, like very smart men that have changed the world, most people couldn't name them, couldn't pick them out in a picture, but they could, like, they know who John Henry is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they know who a strong man is. You know, they definitely know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is. They know who Rocky Balboa is. They know somebody that's overcame it through action, not through words. You know, we love nerds because we love cool stuff, but most men and most girls don't want much to do with them other than the fruits of their, you know, brain. But most men, because as a boy, I don't know about you, but when I was young, man, you couldn't even stand around with your hands in your pocket if men were working or they'd push you down. Yeah. You know, because they're like, what are you doing? Get to work. We all work. We all, you know. And even women look at it too, because here's the golden thing that every woman says: a guy could be dastardly, a guy could fuck up like crazy, and every old woman goes, "Well, he went to work every day. He went to." You've heard that 1,000 times. Well, he went to work every day.
He was a hard worker.
So I would always just fuck with them. I'd be like, "Well, at least he doesn't fuck kids," you know. And they look at me like, "Jesus." And I was like, why are you giving somebody, like, they get complete pass because they went to fucking work? Who doesn't go to fucking work? A very small group. A lot of people. Bullshit. Small group of people. We have the least amount of unemployment we've ever had since they started documenting currently. So literally, everybody's going to fucking work, okay? Right. It's like down to 3% or something bonkers, right? So, well, at least he went to work. So we were based on, like, we know, like, man, if I go to work, at least they'll fucking leave me alone. Right. I go to work, and that's the first thing they say. How many couples you had, and the guy goes, I fucking work every fucking day.
Every time.
Every fucking day.
Every time. Or I have women who are really going through it, and, like, you know, you kind of help them guide their own journey and their own narrative, and they'll be like, you know, I stayed for so long because he worked so hard. He put a roof over our head, and he provided for everybody. And I'm like, yes, but then he slept with your sister.
Was she? And did she need
beat your children? Like, you know, like,
did they deserve it? But he went to work every day.
Oh, right. God. He's a hard worker.
That's so true,
dude. You know how hard it is to bang a girl and her sister? That's pretty fucking hard work. Just saying. Just saying. I don't know if anybody's tried that, but that sounds like hard work to me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm just thinking.
It does depend on the sister, Justin. That's good.
Sometimes it's not that hard.
Yeah.
This makes
just me fall in.
This makes me think, though, because, like, there's TikToks as a woman, right? And, like, I know I don't have a lot to add about the male emotional experience, but now I'm putting pieces together. Women are shitty.
Ready? So, hold on before you even say it. So literally it says we express ourselves through actions, not words. You know why? Because when girls go, your words tell me something, but your actions do not. I need actions, not words. So you tell, no shit, we express ourselves.
Actions speak louder than words.
That's all we've ever heard.
Well, and so this goes. Andy's
like,
no comment.
Yeah.
Well, but, like, women will complain and they'll be like, you know, we're snarky about it. Like, oh, he didn't apologize, but he sent me flowers. I don't want your fucking flowers. I wouldn't have a conversation, blah, blah, blah.
Because apologies are real, right?
They want their cake and they want to eat it too.
Say you're sorry. Sorry.
Oh, you can't win. You can't.
I always say, what are you really mad about? Because this isn't what you're mad about. What are you really fucking mad about? My buddy is really angry right now, my other friend. And he was in the shop the other day and he was losing his shit. And I go, and he was mad. He said he was mad at somebody. I go, you're not mad at him. Who are you really mad at? Like, what are you really fucking mad at? And he's just frustrated in his life because he doesn't have a whole lot of purpose right now. But he wasn't mad at what he was bitching about. He was for real mad about some other shit. But actions, yeah. Those are just words. So what do you, like, this is how confusing it is for us. It's like a Rubik's Cube through a microscope. Blindfolded.
I know. It's a lose-lose. Sorry, babe.
Well, I think that you have to find a balance of, you know, talking about it and being about it. Like, so your actions have to reflect your words.
Right.
You can talk all day, but as long as you can back it up. But just shut up if you're not going to do anything.
It's hard.
It is really.
Because it's that primal thing, too, that they base whether we can protect them off of our strengths and what our being able to accomplish goals and accomplish tasks. Because that's the biggest thing I talk about all the time is that women will literally, their biggest complaint that I've heard from every age group is he never finished his task. He never does this. And if you're doing that, it makes them feel not protected. Like if she couldn't provide food for your kids, and I'm not saying you can't either, but if she packed them some bullshit lunch, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
It would make you like weirdly like inside go,
Right.
that's
like, what?
weird,
Right.
you know? So
Yeah.
actions we do. We love actions because we're completely based on that.
Have you seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Oh God, yeah.
Girls only like guys who have skills.
That's it. They do.
Post-off skills.
Yeah, yeah.
Nunchuck skills.
Yeah, and you have to, but then it goes, that scale will tip too far, you know, and then they have too many skills and people use their skills and they're like, why are you going and doing that for them? And then it's weird. They want you to have skills, but just for them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You only work in my castle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next. Ugh, gross.
Oh, society conditions them.
No shit.
What?
Come on. Are you kidding me?
All we ever tell little boys is tell me about your feelings.
Oh my God.
What boys? The fabulous
Fuck your
ones.
feelings. That's what we were taught. Fuck your feelings.
Quit being a girl.
Well, and
Literally, our whole lives. Quit being a girl.
I think that this is something that is specific to you guys because you mentioned at the very beginning, like generationally, we have done
way
better.
Oh,
Yes,
100%.
we have done.
Can I say why?
Much better. Yes.
The reason why
floor.
young men have way more people talking to them is because they're raised by a lot more single women. So they don't have that male influence in their life. They're literally raised by single women who don't allow, not all. I'm sure some are doing amazing, but a lot of them don't allow positive male, any from their uncles, cousins, any male that could like benefit, you know, their life. And so, yes, they do talk about their feelings more because they're home not doing anything that's task. It's all feelings. So you're kind of fucking with a generation of young men. You know, there's a lot of young men that are killing it. I tattoo a ton of young men that are absolutely, they talk about their emotions. So it's getting better. It really is. But like my generation and up, we're fucked.
Well, how were you conditioned, both of you? How were you guys conditioned to not be emotional?
Because don't act like a girl. I mean, I was lucky, but I'm saying my generation,
Yeah,
like
right.
men I'm around, because they're like, why are you talking about that? I was like, what do you mean? Do you think I'm just going to grow fairy wings and like start sucking your dick? Like, see, I'm a man. I do man ass shit. You know what I mean? And I build things. I can do all the man shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I can't talk. Justin wants us to pitch the telephone number. It's 234-200-5949. Tell us how you're feeling. Just kidding. Don't be a girl.
Right. Only if you're a man. That's the only.
Only if you're a man.
I only want them to call.
Tell Kelly how you feel.
Tell me how you're feeling. No, so I actually have a lot of men on my caseload.
I bet.
Do you know how old they are?
35 to 55.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah, that's when we hit listen, I've learned, I'm in a vortex right now. I'm in a vortex. I've realized I'm in a vortex because everybody's too emotionally scarred right now. It hasn't scabbed over good enough. It hasn't healed enough. Everybody's too raw, so they're just wiling out. So I have a question. When I was thinking about our friend this weekend, women are obsessed with relationships and what a relationship's supposed to be. And I feel like when I was thinking like men, I almost feel like a lot of men are too busy procuring everything that makes a relationship easier, like a good car to drive in so you can go on vacation, and a yard that's nice that your kids can play in, a pool, whatever we need. You know what I mean? Like we're procuring everything that keeps that running. And like we don't understand what a relationship is, and y'all don't understand what it takes to keep that running. Does that make sense? Because I'm not saying, this is a very broad statement.
Right.
And when I say broad, now I'm not talking about a woman. So
It's a girl statement.
broad. So what I'm saying is you guys are obsessed with the idea of a relationship and what a relationship is, but what it takes to keep the life support on that and keep everything, because it has so many more moving parts that we don't know the core of it, and y'all don't know the outskirts that make everything because I've done stuff, and they're like, you don't even. I was like, I did this for you, and they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I did this because this does that, and it turns into this, and they're like, oh shit, and I'm like, you can't see that. Like, what the fuck? You know,
There's
like
a huge disconnect there.
yeah, and that's because me personally, when I'm in a relationship, I work way harder because I want to have more money to do anything they want to do. And it's backfired on me almost every time, but I can't stop myself from working harder.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. So I'm just going to quit my job. Hopefully this podcast takes off. I'll give you my Venmo at the end of the thing. I can just quit.
Cash App. Now, we have had that conversation where, like, I mean, he was working on our roof. I know I told you that.
Yeah.
And on the cars and things like that. And the inside was kind of falling apart. And so I was getting frustrated because I was, like, missing him and, like, wanting quality time. And he's like, okay, but, like, it's the literal roof over our head.
Yeah.
So, like, I love you and I would love to spend time with you, but I also need a little bit of grace of, like,
And as the
I'm
prideful
busy.
thing of being done with it and doing a good job and knowing that you protected your family.
Well, and saved $10,000, $11,000.
Well, that goes into
Yeah.
protecting your family.
Yeah.
That goes into I'm protecting my tribe because
Right.
I'm saving money through my hard work. And that's what, like, I don't know, my brain just goes to that. Like, how can I make this better?
Babe, do you feel like you were conditioned to be unemotional when you were younger? You guys are a little bit different in age.
I think
Yeah.
by my peers more so, like growing up, because I was very sensitive. I was very emotional, but I kept it all inside because any type of, outlet of that resulted in backlash from my peers. Like, what are you going to cry? Or,
Like persecution.
Yeah, it was like, it was almost like an attack on my personality. So I shut
Well, they
down.
saw a weakness.
I was very quiet.
They saw a
growing
weakness,
up.
so the pecking order would immediately go like that.
So then I turned to drugs and alcohol because I didn't know how to work on cars. I didn't know how to do construction. I didn't know any like manly stuff.
Yeah.
So to escape from the emotional being that I was, I just used drugs and alcohol to drown those feelings.
So you didn't have to
So I
feel
didn't
them.
have to feel them. And then I didn't have to express them.
Plus, that probably gave you a sense of community as well, didn't it?
Oh yeah, I was like the heart of that community.
That's what I mean.
I was
Drugs
the
and alcohol
best drug
will make
addict
that
ever.
happen, right? Well, that helps.
Well, I was the party animal.
Right, go hard.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You must have had a lot of emotions you were trying to get rid of, bud.
Dude, I'm telling you,
All
it's
of them,
crazy.
huh?
Yeah. I'm a very emotionally driven person and I feel extreme emotion. So if I'm happy, I want to be, ecstatic. And if
Yeah.
if I'm mad, I want to murder people. Like
That's
it goes
crazy.
very extreme anyway. So it's
Yeah.
been a
That's a
whole
lot.
lifetime of trying to dumb that down a little bit to where I can function in society.
So once you found kind of a safe place to do that with people, were you like, I
Yes.
can breathe, but I also
Yeah.
learned how to use a hammer.
Well, so in sobriety, I've been sober for 7.5 years,
That's
going
awesome.
on 8. And it wasn't until I was in a rehab facility and a woman that was very close to me passed away. And I like stormed out of my pod and they were like, whoa, you can't be out here. And I'm like, I need like a closet or something that I can cry in because like these guys are making fun of me. I'm going to fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
Like if I can't just go somewhere and like let this out. And my caseworker was there and she's like, oh my God, come in my office, and like,
I love when boys cry. So that's why I got to do this.
Right.
I fucking amen. It's fucking great.
because prior
Just
to
kidding.
that, I was very closed off. I would go in there and she'd say, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, well, like you got to give me something. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm sober. I'm good. Like I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to get my kids back. Like I just want
moving.
to, I'm just, keep it moving. Like, let's go. And so when I went in there, I opened the floodgates. It was like I couldn't stop. And
Yeah.
I told her everything. And I walked out of there like sobbing and like feeling like so much weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah, just getting that out of your system.
And that in sobriety, that became my new like drug. Like that's what got me high.
transparency?
Like I just talk about everything. And I don't necessarily talk about my emotions, but I talk like, and if you knew me as a kid, like I was the quietest person. I would break out in sweat and like, you know, I would blush really hard if I had to like talk in front of anybody.
Okay.
And so for me to be like so talkative now is completely foreign to me. And it's like, it's awesome though.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's interesting because number 7, I'm going to skip down because I like scrolled through and like
It's cool.
Number 7
You're running the
is
show.
it hurts.
It does hurt.
It hurts to share. It says here, it talks about like bottling things up because it's not socially acceptable, but then bottling things up leads to explosions of anger or self-harm or suicidal thoughts or
You
like
get
all
pushed
of
hard.
that. Yeah. All of that. Eventually you tip over or you implode. And so it says, if your options are to bottle things up like you've been taught because it's not safe outside of yourself, that is painful. And then to express those and not have it go super well, expressing them is uncomfortable. Having it not land well is painful. Like, so it by nature is just a lose-lose. Either you guys bottle it up or you let it out inappropriately or it lands funky or...
I mean, like anything, you build up that much pressure, it's going to do some damage.
Mm-hmm.
Anything will do that. And if you don't have a reasonable... And there's moments that, yeah, there are times you're like, hey, you got to put that shit on hold for a second. We got some shit to get done, and we can talk about it later.
Yeah.
You know, as men, there's moments like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when you're up on, you know, doing some crazy work, and the guy's like, whoa, and you're like, listen, dude, I don't know
on
if you
a
know
pole.
this, but there's a lot of things that could kill us up here. So we'll talk about that once we get down. But right now, we kind of got to deal with some shit. So it's like, it's the same thing in life, too. And I found that, like, when I do a quick hard drive search in my own head of my own experiences, when somebody chases me around the house demanding something from me, I'm immediately like,
Oh my God. That's
fuck.
the worst.
It's the worst.
I'm going to give you what you're looking for.
I'm going to say whatever will make you leave.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably
Oh, yeah,
say the
that's true.
worst thing I can say to you.
Yes.
Not like me and me, but I'm just going to go, no. You know, and it's like, it's frustrating. So I wish people would calm the fuck down. And it does hurt.
Well,
You
I'm
know?
wired the same way with that. Like my ex, we used to fight a lot, and she would be in my face, like demanding that I talk, and I'm like, I'm done. Like I don't want to be with you anymore. And then
Just to make it stop.
Yeah, just to make it stop because that's not truly how I felt.
I'll eat the cat shit. You know, just
Right.
anything to make it stop. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Exactly, because like I'm so elevated now that whatever I do say is going to cause further damage.
Yeah.
So I want
And there's
out.
no right answer.
I need to just take myself out of this
Yeah.
situation.
That's why I wish we had blow darts with like stuff that would just make them knock out for just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just to, like,
Yeah.
it's like
Like Valium
okay.
or something,
When she
just
wakes
like
up,
just-
she's like, I'm like, are you okay? You just passed
You
out.
passed out.
I'm sorry.
I've been sitting here with a cold, wet rag. just
Actually, I was
waiting
packing
for
your
you.
stuff. You have a pod outside with your stuff in it.
So the other thing that it touches on here that you and I had spoke about yesterday is that men's natural support system for emotions is much weaker than women's. And clinically, I do that a lot. So during an intake, I go over, their intake paperwork, and the platform that I use has their own. I really enjoy it, but there's a lot of questions that I have that aren't on there. And one of the questions that I ask is, who's your natural support system? So as we're going to move forward in treatment, we're going to be picking up a lot of rocks, and like seeing
they're
what's
spicy.
up, right? Seeing if you got a spicy rock. But like, who are you going to go to? Because clinically, I can't. In reality, I'm not on call. Like, you can't.
That's
I mean, you
bullshit.
can, but like, well, and we have that conversation. It's full disclaimer, but who can you lean on? In women, it varies because some women have a lot of trauma because it goes into that too. Like,
Yeah.
I have like one person that I can go to.
Trust issues. and
Right.
things, yeah.
Sure. But men almost never have a person that knows their entire story, like unfiltered. I can be as raw as I want to be or need to be, and I know there won't be judgment. Like, never.
Do you want to hear something weird that I just thought of? Women don't trust any other women, yet they share all their shit with us. We rarely hear men saying we don't trust men. We trust men. We inherently just trust men until they give us a reason not to trust them.
Yeah.
And yet we don't share anything with them. They literally, that's the hill they die on, is that they don't trust other women.
true.
And they literally share everything with them.
Yeah.
And
Get us drunk and take us in a bathroom and
Right.
It was
Not us.
Right.
Eyes down, bud. Eyes down.
We talk about all the things, but you're right.
Wow.
How weird is that?
That's interesting.
That is weird.
Yeah.
But like I have to pry because therapy is hard and I can't be their only support. That's not healthy. Like I would
No,
be
you
doing
want them to find
a-
someone.
Yeah, I would be doing them a disservice.
Yeah. And who do you ever share everything with? I mean, it's very rarely, but if you don't have anybody
so
that
sad. I have people that I share. I mean, like 3, but
I know what you're saying, but
Yeah.
like if you've never had that in your home, if you've never had love in your home or someone that just holds you or just talks to you or just goes, "Baby, you okay?"
yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that have never had that. So why would you think they're going to find that? And if anything, they actually find some predatorial person that goes, tell
me. Right.
And I've seen people stay with someone because they knew their dark secret and they would go ahead. You break up with me, I'll tell them that this happened.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
yeah. Or like I see
how do you
people.
think that paid,
I see
panned out?
people who have a lot of like trauma bond relationships where
I'm going to get one of those next.
no.
Yeah, I am.
oh,
Yeah, I am.
Thomas,
No, those last.
That's
I
a
had
good way
one
to.
of those.
They last. Had a good run, right? I'm kidding.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Nope, you've been through some shit, and they know the darkest stuff about you, and
You feel that trust.
yeah,
100%.
but ride or
Me and Justin
dies,
have been through some shit
I know.
since I was 20.
Not always.
Yeah.
Huh.
We're trauma bonded as hell, right, Jay? He looks like Keanu Reeves, so not to be a dick, he's like John Wick. So,
You know what?
oh shit, Mike's here. Mike's running late. He must have had a date.
For me personally, if I shared trauma with another man, I think that would strengthen that relationship.
It does.
I think though, with a man and a woman sharing trauma, I don't know, it's different, right?
Dude, they want it, but when they get it, they look at you as weak. It sucks. Not all of them, but I'm saying most. It's a fine line. It's that fine line of teetering between give them enough, because girls will go, this guy never talks to me, blah 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 blah. He never opens up, blah blah blah. And then she breaks up with him because like I want somebody who emotionally can be open with me and share things with me. And then they start dating an emotional guy, and they're like, this motherfucker don't shut up. Jesus Christ, I don't want to hear about his fucking Jesus. If he gets a fucking hangnail, he's gonna fucking kill himself. Oh my god. So it's like you can't. It's a fucking game.
Well, it is, and we've talked before about like that wall, right? And like what's on the other side? What's at your inner core? Because they just want like the hurt little
Oh
like
no, it's like
fetal
Epstein
bunny.
Island. It's
Right.
Epstein Island. They want pictures of that shit so they can fucking hold it above your head later.
No, but I guess I'm saying we have shared, but I'm a trained clinician, you know? So like if he shares trauma with me clinically and like logistically, I know what to do with it.
Yeah, you're
Sally
rare.
down the street that is like,
Oh, yeah,
tell
she's
me,
super
break
good.
down your walls and
Break
show
down your
me. And they're
walls.
like, oh,
What time were you born?
Here's all of my abuse that has happened. She does not know what to do with that information.
No, she's going to tell her friend.
We're talking about even like healthy people, not
Who?
malicious bitches
Where
will
they
tell their
at?
friends. But like she's not certified or trained or educated enough to know what to do with that information, and that can just open a vulnerability wound.
I've had girls go, I want to really get inside your head. I said, I fuck up therapists. Like, they can't fuck with me. They're like this.
I think we're done here. I think
Like,
you've made as much
they start
progress
telling
as
me
you're
their
going
shit.
to.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, are you fucking kidding me? And like, you think your nice life that you live, like reasonable life, you think you come on.
Right.
This is fuckery.
Well, and I guess to my point, if you shared your trauma and they were like, oh, and like didn't say anything, or you were like, oh, do you want to see? I know you've told me you don't want inside my head. You know, like
Right.
if you let them in and then they
nothing in there.
cower.
You want to see a lot of guitar pictures? Right there.
Well, that's
You want to know the best pizza in Ohio? Right here. Ice cream? Right here.
oh my gosh, what number is that? Because that's what I giggled. It says, oh, where is it? They don't think about them. Number 9,
What?
their emotions. The reason they
No.
don't talk about them is because they don't think about them.
What do you want us to think about them?
Oh my
You know
gosh.
what our emotions are? how can I get through this without getting yelled at, without getting fired, without being scorned? Like that's
plus getting laid at the end of the day. That's all they want. Right.
Like, will you touch me where I pee? Will you not make me do shit I don't want to do? It's literally, it's almost like I could imagine being an indentured servant. Well, how can I get through this day where I kind of enjoy my day and I can make it reasonable without getting beat, without getting like reprimanded? How can I make this day like, a shitty job where you're like, I just got to get through this and I'm going to be happy today.
Yeah.
That's what most relationships feel like to men, I feel like, because it's like, no matter what we fucking do. Because, dude, I'm sure there's guys, no matter what a girl does, he's an asshole. But I swear, the amount of men I know, that's not the reigning thing. But women, there's always something y'all are fucking mad about. Not all of you, but there's something. It's either your friend didn't fucking react the right way, or your fucking mom didn't fucking notice your hair, or fucking something. And then we're sitting there like this going, man, she doesn't like when people they don't do what she wants them to do. And we're like, fuck.
I was thinking that we are very different in a lot of ways, which I think we are.
Yeah.
But what you said is absolutely true. Like that we are trying to find the path of least resistance.
We have to.
At all times?
All times. Yes. It is fight or flight. You guys are nurturing. You always want to do this.
Not necessarily.
Come here, little baby. Come here. He's a good boy. Come on. He's good.
I'm not just specifically talking about in relationships, but in life.
Everything.
Right.
Like, I just want to sit at home in my garage and bang on metal and, like, weld shit and, like, make cool stuff. Right. That's all I want to do. If I could do that and you still love me and my kids grow up fine, like, that's what I want to do.
Life is good.
Right. But I am a father. I am a husband. So and I'm an employee. So I have all these obligations that I have to do every day. So yeah, I go through and I try to make it as painless as possible. Like, I don't want any kind of emotional upset whatsoever. Let me just get through the day and everybody's happy and everybody's pleased with my performance. And then I have
to do what you want to do.
I'm golden.
Well, think about a man. If a man goes through every day at work and he's just that boisterous fucking mouth, nobody wants to work with him.
Yeah.
Nobody feels safe with him. They're annoyed by shit by him. We're like, we're just trying to work here, bro. Can you calm the fuck down? Like, we don't need, like, we want to get this shit done so I can go home and see your wife, see your kids, see your dog, do dope shit, right? If a woman is like boisterous and things like that, they're like, slay, princess. Oh my God, you go, queen.
You're so hip, Thomas.
But that's what I literally heard it the other day. I was like, she is not. Do you know what a queen is? I mean, like, dude, queens get drugged through their fucking cities because people hate them. Yeah. And y'all call each other that. Mm-hmm. Most men don't call each other kings, do we? Because we know there's one fucking king, right?
Yeah.
We have a realistic thing. Like, there can be one, and heavy is the fucking crown. Girls don't talk about how heavy the fucking crown is. So it is a weird kind of thing, the way we dance around this shit. We don't talk about it because we're just like this. Just guys are like, don't touch that. You slay, queen. Just, I'm gonna go do something productive so I don't get yelled at. And not everybody. So I'm trying to unravel this shit and figure it out. Dude, we have to get things done. We've inherently always had to get. And there's guys who don't. And guess what? They are bottom rung dudes that people don't really value.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
That's not wrong. Right.
Well, it's not unfortunate, actually. Everybody has a place. Like you said, every pot has a lid.
Right.
It takes all kinds. And I'm not saying, dude, if you can live your life at that level, live your life at that level. But you're not. What'd they say? That 70% of women, and there's only 30% of men that are dating. And out of that 30%, what do you think are top tier men? 5%, 10%?
Yeah.
And that 10% is fucking all of them. And that 10% is fucking all of that 70%.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking numbers are those? Because we can't have emotions, ladies and gentlemen.
You can. They just have to be the right ones. Express the right way.
You guys need like a meter. Like,
yes,
I can be emotional today, or I can paint the basement.
Like a thermometer that's built into them, where you can gauge whether you're doing it right or not.
We should have that.
Well, listen, and that's why
Red light, green light.
That's why so many women say that they're going to women instead of men because
You mean
they're
dating
much,
women?
Yes, they're much less frustrating.
Oh yeah, you're not talking to the same girls that started dating girls as me, did you? They're like, I thought I could date a girl. There's no fucking way. You've heard it a million times, haven't you? I
I've
just
heard it,
laugh,
I've heard
and I'm
both
like
ways.
this. Oh, tell me more.
Some women are like, women get me, and that's why I date women.
No,
and then
they
other
don't.
ones are. Listen, I have a best friend. She is my second soulmate.
You're platonic.
I don't get her half the time. Love her to death.
What does it mean to get somebody?
But yeah,
I don't have to get you.
we're like the same, but sometimes she'll say stuff, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" But that's what I like. That's what I like
And
about
you're
our
like, "Slay,
relationship. Right? Yeah.
queen."
No, I'll ask her. I'm like, "Do you want therapist Kelly? Do you want friend Kelly? What
Right.
What are you looking for?"
She
But
don't know.
that's what I value in my friend, and men often don't have that. When I ask men these questions, who can you go to? They're like, "Oh, I have one really good friend that I went to school with. He lives in Colorado, but I could call him anytime I needed something." And I'm like, "Oh, is that who you talk to?" And they're like, "No, that's just who I would call
if I
had
ever
some- like-
thought about having feelings, that's who I would think about calling.
But you've shared. You have
I
a
have
decent.
the greatest friends.
You
No,
have
I have the
right.
like. But I will be honest with you. When we talked last week, and I said, "When did you start going to therapy?" The first time I went to therapy, I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
So I have had an unfair advantage. But I will say this: my friends. But I only associate with people that I can
Top-tier
speak
people,
to.
yeah.
Top for me.
Right, you're
Somebody that
top-tier people,
resonates
right.
with me.
Yeah.
I can't really hang out with people that are just fucking bulls in a china shop because I'm like, yeah, that's going to end bad for me. Like your energy alone just makes
Yeah.
me kind of like
Yeah.
uneasy.
Well, so your experience is unique. Why don't men talk to their friends about their emotions? Do you have a good group of friends? Guy friends?
No, I don't have any friends.
No, I know. Thanks for being honest.
Well, so
But why not?
I have guys that I could call that would be there, at the drop of a hat to support me with the roof or, whatever it is that men do together. Like I have a solid group of guys in that way because I've earned that capital with those men.
Are those coworkers?
Some of them, yeah.
A lot of them?
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah.
I'll ask a quick question. So I've noticed that people in sobriety went from having a ton of friends that they thought were friends because you used together and you did things and you probably were friends. I
Yeah.
mean, you were. I'm
Yeah.
not discounting that.
Right.
So I have a lot of friends that are in the program too. And once they get out of that, they get friends that are in the program. But if you're not currently working the program or it's, it's not your thing, and I understand that, you're lost without a community.
Man, do you know how desperately I want
Right.
friends?
You need to start a group of guys that did not resonate with the program and being with people around that but still want a community, but it isn't solely based on sobriety. More on just actual, like a sport group.
Being good.
Connection.
Well, because dude,
Right, yeah.
I don't know about you, but I know people that have, like I've never even smoked pot, dude. So I'm like square, okay, but I can't have conversation. I've been around so much of drugs and stuff in my life, so I have a little bit better knowledge than most people that have never fucked with them.
Yeah.
Being that I've tattooed and literally played in bands my entire life, I've been around a lot of people that creative types that really abuse themselves.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is if it's like that support group mentality that if you've never dealt with it, it's like you just kind of like you won't get me.
It's a big struggle is
Yeah.
opening up to someone who doesn't have the experience but has the knowledge. It's difficult.
But why do you think as humans we find that so important? Like you don't understand because you've never been through it. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean I don't that's a weird.
I think it's the emotions that go with it.
Yeah.
Because I used for so many years because of my emotions and feeling like I was an outcast and feeling like I was wrong. I was built wrong. The feelings that I have, the emotions that I have are wrong.
Right.
And they don't fit in. So I don't know. I have a group of guys who I supervise at work who I took a lot of time in the drive to the job, I would like hop in different trucks with different guys and check in on them. And they utilize me in that way, but I don't them. It's weird.
But does that give you value too, though?
Absolutely.
Well, then sometimes it is a kind of a one-way street.
Yeah.
I can't expect the same out of people that I've given them, for sure, in my life. This just is not possible.
No, and I don't expect it.
No, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's not even I don't even look at it as a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's just movement. You know what I mean? I think that's the problem. Everybody looks at it as like a give and take. Because I hear a lot of people talking about like, I'm tired of this one-sided relationship. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I always have to go to them. And I'm like, do you like going there? Well, yeah. I don't know. I always have to go to Luigi's. They never come to me.
Damn.
You know what I mean? But like, why is that? Is that just a weird flex? Like, is it just a weird thing you want to feel important about?
Right.
So, I don't know.
A lot of guys want friends. That's what I'm finding. The more men that I work with, the more they do have them. They're changing and ebbing and flowing too. I think some men feel comfortable dipping their toe in that, and some men really, really struggle. And I think those are often the men that we lose. The ones that they don't know how, or they don't feel like they'll be accepted for it, or it doesn't feel safe for them.
Or it's just not there.
Yeah.
You know when you click with somebody or you don't click with somebody.
Right.
I'll say this. You're also at an age that like most guys your age are still raising kind of young kids, and they have to be present. They have tons of homework to do. They have tons of life. They got baseball games and football games and all this shit. So they don't really like, I play music. So that Tuesday, Thursday night, we have that community like going bowling or going and playing whatever the fuck dudes do. But I go and play music with they become my friends.
Yeah.
Like almost all my friends I played music with or worked with or tattooed. You know what I mean? So I spent a lot of time with them.
Common ground, yeah.
Yes. But at your age, because you're a little bit younger than me, you guys are in the thick of that. So to peel off that time to also have a family.
Man, I'm in the trenches right now.
You are.
I am. Hardcore.
Yeah. So you got to either find some other, like find a long-haired football dad. I know you guys are going to football games. But like go, he's wearing a Meshuggah shirt. I'm going to go talk to that dude. But it's hard.
It's funny. He does that. And people on my caseload do that. I'm like, go to the same coffee shop every day for 15 days.
Right.
Pick out, like you have to put some intention.
Dude,
into
get on
it.
if you have a favorite band, get on a community group online and talk to them and go, dude, I went and seen them here. I know that sounds crazy, but like I talk to people on guitar, like message boards. Cause like even my friends probably get sick of me talking about guitars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But a fellow guitarist
that are obsessed about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like,
find your niche.
Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. But like, dude, I still only resonate with a handful of people.
Yeah.
And like most of them are in that fucking room right now. You know what I mean? So I'm lucky. But dude, I'm also older. And I've been cultivating these relationships more than half my life. Mm-hmm. You know, two of those guys in there have literally known me since I was 20 years old. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a late start, you know.
It's okay, but you had a little bump. You know what I mean? But like,
I had a lot of little bumps.
All right. Yeah, all the bumps. It's a good joke. That's good. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm square.
So I right now am struggling. I think that when I do start to get close to someone and feel like there's a potential for a relationship, like a friendship, I back off. I think I'm
afraid of loss.
Yeah. I've been afraid of loss my whole life.
A good friend you could not see for 3 years and see him and sit and talk to him. And it's like, I saw him yesterday. That's a friend. Yeah. I have a friend named John that I don't see very often at all. But every time I see him, I swear, man, it's like I'm 18 years old. Yeah, dude, because that's friends. Yeah. It's like that old tape or CD that you listened to when you were young. And as soon as you play it, you do this. It's right there. It never changed. Yeah. So that's you. I mean, you might be thinking a little bit too much about it and go, no, dude, friends have different things going on at different times. And you can't, just be greedy with that. You just go, no, man, I'll see you when you're done. Or do you need help? But past that, some things are one way because somebody else is struggling. You know, you don't, because Lord knows dudes don't fucking talk. They don't know if they're struggling. But
Yeah,
you can be
I do
persistent.
bring it out of people.
Yeah. I'm sure-
especially guys.
Yeah.
I work in the construction field, so like
They feel safe
you get
with
that manliness. We climb poles. We
Yeah.
all that
Well,
stuff.
I mean,
so,
that's a whole different story.
yeah.
He's actually an exotic dancer.
I work at Chippendales.
Yeah.
No, so I think that it's important to me to give these younger guys, because I'm older in my field. I'm not 20 anymore, so I've taken falls off of poles and out of trees, and my back is not forgiving. So
Right.
a lot of these younger guys I see coming into it, and they're struggling to make their way, and they get dogged on by all these older guys, and so
It
I
is a
kinda
weird
take 'em-
work thing.
Take them under my wing if they're showing like that they want to work and they want to come to work, and they
Right.
and they're trying, but
They
they're
have
just
to be
young.
nurtured. They have to be
Yeah,
nurtured.
hell
Like the
yeah.
old dudes are like, well, that's not the fucking way I fucking learned. I had to fucking.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I always stop and I go, did you enjoy that? Well, no. So you want to perpetuate that and make them feel the same fucking shittiness as you did, and I don't understand what's the purpose in that. Well, it made me stronger. No, it didn't. It made you bitter, and now you're bitter.
That's fair.
So
So I actually had a cool story there. I worked with another lineman for a long time, and he was a hothead, throwing his hard hat, screaming at the general public, and just was really hard on his guys all the time.
Step off for 1 second.
Not
she's leaving.
She's had enough of hearing our emotions.
She's out of here.
She's like, these guys are talking about
Right.
emotions. Men aren't allowed to do
Right.
that. I'm bored.
There's too many pole jokes here.
No, so late. He was really hard on his guys that he trained, and now we're both in the office, and he pulled me aside one day and told me, I used to give you a lot of crap for being so soft with the guys, and he's like, but I think there's something to that. I think you had it
Starting to
right.
see it.
Yeah, He's
That's
like, I think
amazing.
you had it
Were
right.
you
That
like
was
this?
so cool.
Oh, dude, that's a super
Awesome,
rewarding
'cause
conversation.
I respect the shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
I look up to him in a lot of ways.
Because he probably worked hard.
Hell yeah.
You'll give somebody a little bit of pass if they're diligent in their work and like consistent in their work.
Yeah. Wow.
It's hard, but that mentality has to. You can be hard, but not brutal, man.
Yeah.
You can be nurturing and still get your point across. I promise you can, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and that's
know?
how I kind of introduce these younger guys into it. I'm like, if they're scrolling on their phone or something, I don't like take their phone and chuck it into the road or something. I just say like, hey, this needs done. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And I'm like, so go do it. Like,
Yeah, now.
yeah, like, and I can be from, but I'll throw in a joke or something.
Right.
Like, you can look for dudes on Grindr later. Like,
Yeah.
I need you to do this right now.
Exactly.
And like, give them shit,
Right.
bust some balls.
Well, it
and
makes
then we-
it feel a little bit more like friendly.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting for sure, because I've experienced a lot of even older women are just as brutal about that.
Oh,
These
yeah.
kids don't fucking know. I'm like, yeah, you guys could do better at showing them. I mean, like, I don't know who's supposed to show them. It's not that hard. I promise. Take your time, and you can get frustrated. But how hard do you got to be these days? I mean, like, honestly.
It's so.
How hard do you got to be even in construction as you used to? You don't have to be as
No,
hard.
oh,
You don't
no.
carry shingles up anymore. They drop them off on top of the fucking roof. I mean, like,
Well, I
how
carried
hard do
them
you?
all up.
Right, but I'm saying if you,
96 fucking bundles.
but if you would have procured that, you could have had them literally sat on the peak
Oh,
of
yeah,
your house.
yeah.
I'm saying, like, when people are like, they're dead. I go, you have food delivered to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't.
So
You
hard.
don't have to do.
Our problem.
You don't have to leave your house anymore.
yeah.
Somebody will come and change your tires and oil on your fucking driveway.
You're not wrong. Yeah,
So
it's a
how
whole
hard do you have
different
to
world.
fucking be? It's 2000, almost 24.
Yeah.
We should have flying fucking cars.
I struggle with that concept because I grew up, I guess, in a era where like there was still that like macho manly like vibe that like this is what a man is, you know? And now you don't you don't have to do that anymore, but it's almost like primal, you know?
Dude, they literally base our worth on it.
Well, so I struggle with it because like I want to be a hard ass. I want to be a man. I want to show that I can carry 100 fucking bundles of shingles up on the roof. You know, I could have paid to have them done, but like,
right.
I still feel that need to like
100%
show that
pride, ego.
Pride, ego. Yeah.
We'll give you an imaginary trophy. Here you go. Put that in your big imaginary trophy case.
That's all I wanted.
You got it. Good job.
This one's recognition.
And you wanted her to look at you and be like, dude, nothing makes a girl happier than seeing a guy swinging a hammer, dude.
I know. Well, and I was just going to say that like women still look for that.
Oh, dude, go split some wood in front of a girl.
Yes,
are you kidding me?
Yes.
Shit works.
One, we want to know that you'll back us up, and we want to know that you'll protect us and that you'll provide for us and all of those things. So we want you to split wood, beat up the guy that looked at us
write
funny.
Poetry.
And then come home.
Tell us you're right. Tell you're right when you're being catty.
And be emotionally vulnerable. Number 12 is it only creates problems. When men are emotional and they finally talk about their feelings, it only creates problems. And I struggle with this, and I call women out a lot in couples counseling because I'll say, you know, going back to, I forget the girl's name, but like, don't punish good behavior.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to tell you how they feel and you're mad because their I statement, you turned into a you statement. Like, yeah. And so we work a lot on like reflective listening. Like,
oh, now you want to clean up the basement. Oh, now you want to do this.
Right.
Oh,
right. Or like, you know, if he were to share that he feels underappreciated when he comes in from putting on the roof and there's like dishes in the sink and I'm like, hey, can you do those dishes while I'm like doom scrolling through my phone?
And he's looking at you like,
right. So if he said like that,
I'm going to check for gas leaks in the house because obviously you're high as fuck.
And I'm not perfect. I'm sure that has happened and vice versa. Wait, so I've been working all day. Huh?
Where were you going with that? If I came in and said, you know,
yeah, that you felt, I don't know, disrespected or underappreciated or something, then a lot of humans, people, but a lot of women get really riled up about that. Like, oh, you feel underappreciated. Well,
what about when you did this?
Right. I just put all of the other kids to bed. Like, but there's a way.
You're like, I didn't even want these kids.
I did not sign up for these. But there's a way to communicate in a healthier pattern where he can express a vulnerable emotion and then I can just reflect it back. Reflective listening is all it is I hear that it makes you feel unappreciated when you've worked really hard and then I ask you to do something. And like, even that sounded kind of shitty, but then what he could say is like, no, that's not what I'm saying. He could clarify that I understand that you want help doing the dishes. Is there something like, you know, like just help me understand, because when I enter the house, it looks like you're doing nothing. And you want me to do the dishes. And then I could say, well, yes, that's true. I'm taking a break because I just got cussed out by our 7-year-old, you know, like, so I need a minute. But like,
because your perception is,
there's a lot of going back and forth, but that's because we are on the same page of trying to get to the bottom and make sure that we're both okay.
So civilized arguing.
Discuss it. I can't take away your emotions. Yeah, I can't tell you that.
Can.
No,
y'all have a power.
I know, but like that's what this is.
I'm telling you right now, y'all have a power to take away our emotions.
This is number 12. Like and we've talked about taking offense. If he comes in and tells me that he feels underappreciated when I ask him to do the dishes, I could get really offended and be like, listen here, motherfucker. Like, I made all the dinner. You've been outside hanging with your boys, putting on the roof while I've been manning these 5 children.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you could pose that argument.
Right. And like, we had this realistic conversation where like he came to me after the fact and he's like, you know what? I've been thinking about it. And just because I'm doing this big project,
kind of an extra thing, not a normal thing, an extra thing.
And he's like, just because I'm doing all of this hard work that I have like acknowledged, he's like, he said it did not take away from the work inside of the house that you then absorbed. And I was like,
no, I get it.
Right.
But to me, that's the whole purpose of a relationship.
Sure.
Is like having somebody help you up a little bit or whatever. And that's like, but dude, none of that is worth arguing about. Like when we says it causes problems when we talk about it.
That's my point.
Yeah,
like,
because if we go, hey, I'm really feeling a certain way. like you said, and then they're like, well, you think you're feeling away?
Right.
It's like a contest, like who
Right.
feels worse.
Yeah, I could have.
That's not fun.
I could have thrown her temper tantrum and went and was like, okay, well then you go shower and go to bed, and I'll do all of the dishes
Thank
after
you.
dinner, and like,
Good job, and I need my feet rubbed.
right.
Well, and that's where like things have changed a lot, because our grandparents would just give her a backhand if she got mouthy, and
She wouldn't even say it.
yeah
She wouldn't even
and
say
now
that.
we're our parents kind of wanted to step away from that like brutalness a little bit, and like give us a little bit of room to express ourselves and whatever. And then those are our parents, and then us.
Now we don't know
Yeah.
what to do with it.
Yeah, we don't know what the fuck to do
No,
with a
it's
kid.
so gray
We want to
now.
be their best friend,
But
but we
if
also
you
want them to
want-
listen to and respect us. But we give them a podium to stand up and preach their feelings on, and it's so hard, man.
And it's interesting for me when I see you want to be treated like a queen or a king. You got to do some queen and king shit. You have to make hard decisions. You have to go the extra mile. You got to be there late. You got to be there early. You have to do all those things. And most people are not willing to put that in, but they want huge responses from it and results from it. But it does. It creates problems.
When
It does.
That would be my message, and often is my message to women, is going back to numbers like 1, 2, and 3. We're asking, in many cases, we're asking them ultimately to do something that it does not come natural, whether they're not in touch with their emotions as much, or whether they have a lot of them and they've never been encouraged to share them, or they share them and
Too
it's not
much.
well received, and then they're like, I can't believe you said that to me. Like, give some grace. If you're training somebody to do something new, you don't expect them to know right away. Like, so if we're asking them to do something that doesn't come organically,
I heard a lady
simmer
talk about
a little.
that. She says, don't ever ask a man to do something he's not capable of doing.
Why? What was her point? I need
Her point
context.
was meaning like asking for something he's not able to give you. Like, you need to know who you're dealing with. Like, I'm not going to ask my grandson to put in a transmission. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why are you asking somebody to do something they're literally not capable of?
Yeah. Well, women get on their high horse sometimes, though, and we're like, we're women, but we can do man shit. So why can't you guys be men and do woman shit? And
They really say that?
yes, because
They
we're
can
in
do
touch
man
with.
shit?
We're in touch with.
What's that
We mow
mean?
the grass. We take out
That-
the trash.
that's man shit?
We pay the bills. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I
that they're
understand,
like, we
but
can.
guess what? I cook.
We don't
I change
need.
babies.
Right.
I fucking decorate.
Yeah.
I paint.
Right.
I do things. I paint my daughter's nails.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, that doesn't, it's not,
I guess their point is that we can be emotional and be logical, and men struggle being both.
yeah, it's neurological.
I know.
Refer back
Yeah,
to
I'm
number
not
one.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder, like, why are we trying to?
Even the playing field.
No, it's,
Why-
it's
why-
a game. No, it's a game.
Why are we
It's
trying
literally
to
a game.
fix this?
There's nothing
Right.
to fix. It's accept somebody for who they are within reason. Within reason.
Right.
Yeah.
But the honest truth is, most people aren't coming to the game prepared. They're coming to the game and they're like, they have a baseball mitt, a soccer ball, one cleat, a
Volleyball
fucking
net.
karate gi, or a fucking karate belt, and a fucking table tennis net.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm ready for the game. What fucking game are you ready for?
Right.
And like, they're not understanding, like, it's very specific in like knowing your opponent, because that's what it feels like.
Gosh, I was gonna say that made me like my stomach. Knowing your teammate.
That's not what it is.
We're
It's winning.
on the same
but all these
team.
things come down to you having the edge over someone else. Well, you fucked up, so now I get the
That's not
scepter back.
true.
Not you.
I know,
But
that's
you're
just
okay.
such an-
You're a fucking therapist, and he's been to a ton of fucking therapy, and he's been to a ton of things where he's talked to counselors. Okay,
No, that's actually not.
but
true.
you actually
I
have talked to a counselor,
fucking
right?
Hate therapy.
Right. That makes sense. I
My
get
wife
it.
is the
Yeah.
therapist. I
But you've
personally-
actually been to therapy.
I have, and I
most
was
people
actually
have
going to
not.
touch on that because she encouraged me to go to therapy, and the more therapy that I do,
She gets kickbacks.
the more I realize how fucked up my head is, and the more depressed I get.
Really?
For the
Yes.
record, I did. We talked
Shit's
about
getting
it.
real.
and
Mike, bring in my safety pads, please.
came to your own conclusion that maybe therapy would be helpful because therapy is helpful for me and therapy that I do is
Oh,
helpful
you
for
used
others.
some kind of psychological thing to plant
Did
that
she-
thought in.
Oh,
my head.
wow.
It was your idea. I don't want people to think I twisted his arm into therapy.
No, you expressed to me that therapy can be beneficial
Right.
in conjunction with medication for mental health illnesses, which I have discovered through a psychiatrist that I am moderately to severely depressed, moderately to severely anxious, severely ADHD, bipolar. Is there any I'm missing?
ADHD and PTSD.
PTSD.
I feel like we're.
I'm like, that fucked me up more. Just
did?
putting a label on it.
You know what's crazy?
I don't want it. I don't
knew
need to know that. I've been
somebody-
dealing with this for 37 years.
Yeah, but don't you think once you know, it's like having an engine light on. But once you scan the code, you have the like a tool. You know what you can do to help
This is where
it.
me and you.
No, I'm asking. I'm not
Are different.
saying.
This,
See,
I'm
to
just saying
me-
this is where your brain and my brain work differently.
Where
He
you looked at it
wants
as a
to
bad
use-
thing, like, oh my god, all these codes are coming up. I'd be like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
let's
obvious.
start with number one.
We obviously better just dump gas on this fucking car and light it
Yeah.
on fire and walk away.
See, to me, I would start going through the codes and go, well, which one needs the most attention the quickest?
No, he will plug that tire with a plug over and over and over and
Yeah.
over.
Is that well? I mean, maybe that's I can't. I guess that's just where our problem solving things change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where I've known people that were once they were diagnosed, they felt like a
relief.
1,000 tons
Yes.
off of them because they were like this. I'm not just fucked up. There's a reason why I'm struggling.
I was perfectly fine off in La La Land.
You like it just closed up and put up on the shelf?
Yes.
Then close it up and put it up on the shelf.
That's what I'm actively doing.
That's okay.
Because
Yeah.
I was perfectly functional, and
Yeah.
I struggled over the past couple years with depression and suicidal thoughts.
Right.
At this point in my life, I think about suicide every single day.
That's a lot.
Every single day, it crosses my mind.
Right.
There's good days and bad days where, maybe it's just like me crashing into a telephone pole or something, and it's not like brutally gruesome, like
Right.
some kind of disfigurement that I do to myself until I bleed out. Like that, but that's a bad day.
But that's like the things that are running through your head, like the scenario.
yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah, man, it's heavy, and I don't know. Like, I feel like I can talk to other guys and help other guys, but for me, it's so hard to let that out and then like receive help for it. I don't know how
Well,
to do that.
I'm gonna ask a real. I don't know if it's what kind of question it is, but how do you help something? Like, what would be help for you to make you feel better about that? Because I mean, are you trying to just make that go away and not
Yeah,
think
I don't
like
want
that?
to talk about it anymore.
Right.
I don't want to talk about it. I want to just do. I want to do
Live your life.
my fatherly duties, my husbandly duties, my employee duties. Like, I want to just go out and do everything and not talk about all that shit from my past. That's the problem.
You don't have to.
I know.
I mean, dude,
That's
I have
where I'm
somebody
at,
that
though.
lives in the past. I know somebody that really lives in the past. And I said, imagine driving your car only looking in your rearview mirrors.
Yeah, you're gonna crash.
Yeah, I mean, like, why are you
inevitable.
even fucking driving? Just get out of your car and walk back there. If
Yeah.
you're trying to go somewhere, you look. We all glance in it and go, "Don't do that again." Is there anything coming up to fuck me up?
Right.
But you've already lived that life and paid that debt. You don't have to pay that bill anymore, man. You know what I'm saying? And like, I know that's an easy way of saying it, but like, the rearview mirror, fuck that. Grab it, throw it in the fucking trash, and fucking go. No, dude. Like, whatever gets you to the next plateau, because you're kind of. It looks like you're just kind of wiggling here. You just need that next little.
Yeah.
Because you've made such a growth in the last 10 years. Right?
That's true.
Okay. So you're just kind of meandering here. You're like, okay, the movement's not really doing anything. So you just need one. I get there with everything in my life. My buddy's there right now. He literally came to me and goes, yo, man, I'm thinking once my parents are gone, man, I'm just going to sell everything and just move to Vietnam. And I was like, I've never heard this motherfucker talk about Vietnam ever. Unless he was going to do a rub and tug or some shit like that. So, and I was like, where in the fuck is this coming from? But he's a go-getter. Like, you're a go-getter, dude. So you're not, you've plateaued. So you need something else to conquer. And if you don't have purpose and you think like, no offense to your wife and your family and your job, but that's done. It works. It's working. It's the gears are meshing and moving. Yeah. You need something to go, I need a new gear. Because this is working too smooth. You're used to chaos. You need another gear to struggle. If you want to make metal shit.
Before I jam a wrench into this gear.
Okay, but self-sabotaging is very easy to do. I used to do it like crazy. Yes. But understanding where you're going, you need purpose. And without purpose, people, like I always say, those without purpose are literally those without purpose. You need that excitement of something.
This is just out of curiosity, but do you or have you struggled with depression?
Weirdly enough, I think I might be the most shallow human that's ever lived. I have an unfair advantage, man. I get sad, but I've been a dad since I was 17. I grew up with an uncle who was paralyzed. I've been around things that made me literally, since before I was born, know that someone else is worse than me, and I cannot complain about nothing. And I also grew up in a family that, like, I don't care what happens to us, chin up, what's your fucking last name, fucking act like it.
See, I think that's where the problem is that if you don't have genetically or neurologically depression, you think that it's a state of mind.
My brother suffers with it horribly.
Well, so I know that my life could be worse. I've been there.
Yeah,
100%. I was sticking needles in my arm, living in a skeezy hotel in the south side of Akron,
right?
Pimping my girl out,
right?
Like, I know I spent a lot of time in jail and rehabs, and like I know my life is fucking awesome right now.
Right.
So that's the struggle for me, is that like, why do I still want to die if my life is awesome and I've made all these strides? So that's where, like,
did you have that before?
What's that?
Those feelings before all the drugs and all that?
My whole life, since I can remember.
It's always been there.
Yeah, a little kid.
Yeah.
And so I just learned how to deal with it. Like I said, I talk about it like it's no big deal, but like...
Yeah, it's pretty heavy to me. I'm not going to lie. Like that makes me want to just come over and hug you. You know what I mean?
Dark Tuesday.
Fuck, bro. Dark as fuck Tuesday.
Yeah. So
it's helpful because other people feel like this.
I can make it through every day. I know I can. Right? Even on my worst days when I'm like curled up in a ball and like just... like am right there about to end it, like I know that I'm gonna make it another day. I still know, because I don't want to die. It's just that's where I don't know, like I have this like cycle where I'm as high as I'll get and then I'm as low as I'll get, and I just have figured out a way to
maneuver
get
through
life
it
that way. It's weird.
I'm one of those people that I've learned to like turn around and walk back into it. I don't avoid shit anymore. Very rarely. I'm not gonna say I never avoid things. I try not to avoid it anymore because literally nothing's ever killed me yet. And I've been through some crazy shit. And I'm just like this. Well, let's get it the fuck on. I feel like, what is that, Lieutenant Dan when he's up on top of that boat? Just like, let's fucking get it on. Because I'm like this. Yeah. Dude, at the end of the day, are you living a life that you want to live? And if you're not, start making plans to fucking live the life you truly want to fucking live. You have to have purpose and have to have discipline. And if you do not, I don't care who you are. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how enriched your life has been, how horrible your life has been. It's on every scale. Those without purpose are those without purpose. Mm-hmm. And because it's the same thing. Like your job, you're good at your job. You're good at your family. I know because I'm part of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's done. It's like going. You don't struggle about fucking tying your shoes or brushing your teeth anymore, right? Because you've done it 4,000 times. What I'm saying is that becomes the same thing. Because you know how to fucking do it. You know what I mean? It's like me.
Solid.
Dude, I helped my friend on Sunday morning like tear out a kitchen and rebuild it just because he needed help. Most people don't want to go do that on a Sunday morning. You know what I mean? But like honestly, I got to hang out with my buddy. Mm-hmm. I got to work really hard. I got to sweat. I got like when you got done doing that roof, were you like until you walked in and saw them dishes? And then but how happy. Like, did you feel like, I did this? My kids get to see me be a fucking man.
Yeah. I asked her, I said, how many people do you know? People do you know that have put their own roof on?
Yeah.
And she was like, none.
Right. And that's dude, but
Hell yeah.
that day was a good day. You didn't think about that shit that day, did you?
It's every day.
Yeah.
It is.
Was
but-
it as strong?
No.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
No, and I think you're right though, because I started going back to school for chemical dependency counseling,
right?
So that I can help another guy, because
right.
I'm good at that. Like, and I have a hell of a story that
right. It's inspiring.
Yeah, if I can do it, anybody can. Kind
that
of
gives
thing.
you purpose.
Yes,
but I'm gonna tell you one thing: as a man, if you don't physically do something that makes you fucking sweat and hurt at the end of the day, your mind is going 4,000 miles an hour. So until you conquer that, and I tell people, they're like, I'm having a rough day. I go dig a hole. They're like, what do you mean? I go dig a hole until your fucking hands bleed. And I'm going to tell you right now, that shit goes out the fucking window.
You're not wrong.
You know what I mean? How many bundles did you carry up before you were like this? And you just sat up there drinking a thing of water and looking at the sky and going, I remember the day you did it. It was a nice day.
Yeah.
And you're just like this, probably like, it's a fucking good day.
Hell yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got you. We do got to wrap this up here soon. Yeah. So look, if you guys are anybody that's struggling with anything, man, talk to people. You know what I mean? Like, you got to talk to people. And like you said, you're trying to find your way of how to not talk about it all the time, but also deal with it.
Well, and there's a difference for me between therapy and talking about it, because I do have guys who are sober that when it's real dark, I know I can call them and they've been there. Right. They know what that is, and they can just listen to me cry and like
it helps
let that pain out, and then I fight another day. Like, and that's where I would consider them friends, but they're also like, they are my sober support. Yeah. They are my support group. So I guess to say that I don't have friends is an inaccurate statement, but I view friendship differently. Like,
well, it's hard to define.
I mean, because we don't hang out or anything.
A friend's somebody you can trust.
Yeah.
A friend isn't somebody you speak to every day. A friend is somebody you trust.
That's fair.
Does that make sense? Like, it's the same thing as where, people will go, well, a real relationship. I'm like, what does that mean? So the same thing with like a friend. Like, what does that mean? Like, a friend is like, when I see you, like, how are you, man? Blah, blah, blah. How's the kids? Blah, blah, blah. All this shit. That's a friend. A friend's somebody you can call, and not always. You're like, well, friend's there no matter what. No, there's sometimes your friend can't be there because he's got his own shit going on. So fuck off with that. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
So, like, to define that is, like, hard. Like, we want to define everything instead of just going, like, in seeing it all. What's the one last one, Kelly?
Well,
before we get crazy.
Oh, where is it? There was one that tied right into...
polls?
No.
Let's go back to talking about polls.
Oh, so number 10, they release pain in other ways.
Oh.
It ties right into what you were saying. Like, they don't always need to talk about it.
We prefer not to.
Right, because they're letting it out. They're letting it out elsewhere. And actually, I just had a conversation with one of my clients when you were sharing it. Reminded me, because therapy does not look the same for everybody. I have a couple.
Nothing does.
I have a couple where partner A really wants to talk about stuff, and partner B is like, "Fuck you! I don't want to go there. I know what's there. I don't want to rehash it." So I had to like explain. Yeah, well, I'd explained to her. I was like, "Listen, as a trauma clinician, there is benefits to either or both, but like, you get to decide what that looks like
for you.
If you want to rehash it, sometimes rehashing it takes the power away and the stigma away, and it's like the pressure cooker that you finally like release a little pressure out of, and you feel better about your narrative. But some people don't want to do that, and it's actually damaging. So like, I don't give a shit if you want to Gorilla Glue that lid on and put it on the shelf. That's okay. But if you're here, it's obviously still bothering you. Like,
if you keep touching it.
Yeah. So like, let's figure out how to
if you're holding a jar.
If we can function, or like, and sometimes it's behind a curtain, and they keep like adjusting the curtain and trying to like make sure that nobody even knows that they have that jar.
But again,
fuck the jar.
Look at those other things.
Yeah. Let's just find a way to like, obviously you've been through some stuff. How's it affecting you now? Can we like learn some skills so that you can better
One little
manage?
thing that'll help you. Just
yes,
one.
let's just better manage it. I don't give a shit what's in your jar. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
Well, it's like working on anything. If you try to fix everything at once, you're not going to do a good job on 80% of it.
No.
Yeah.
One thing at a time.
Right.
One small thing. Like, dude, I watched a guy that he's a famous guy. And he just passed away, but he said he sold everything and went to an island. And he read a Taoist book, and he'd read a passage. And sometimes he would spend a week reading this on this island, one passage. And some days he would read a passage a day, and he would just get it. But if he didn't get it, he would spend a week or 2 weeks on one fucking passage until he fucking understood it. And that slowed me down so much when I heard that, because I was like, why am I trying to keep all these cups okay? I'm just going to fucking worry about my fucking, this cup. And like once I slowed myself down and went, wait a minute, I'm slowing down because I want to understand it before I move on to something else.
Yeah.
And it helped me like a huge amount.
Right.
One thing I want to say is that someone told me that in order to battle depression, you need to prioritize things that make you feel good or things that are helpful, and put them into your routine daily. That way, when you crash, they become like, because even when I'm like super down, I still get up and go to work,
right?
Because it's a priority. So if I incorporate, running or working out or whatever it is that's helpful for me, meditation, whatever, and implement that into my daily routine, then when I'm down, I don't have an option. I still have to do these things.
Right.
And they help. So that's been super helpful for me.
I get up really early, so I'm up a minimum of 2 to 3 hours before I go to work. I'm up doing things for 2 to 3 hours.
It's impressive.
Okay,
Props.
but you want me to tell you why?
Disgusting.
Because if my day gets busy and I get home and I didn't get to play guitar today and I didn't get to write today and I didn't get to create today, I feel like I'm empty. But if I do it before I even start my fucking day, I'm full.
Right.
I start off already good.
How much sleep do you get on in an average night? Just curious.
5-6 hours.
That's what I was told that we need.
Yeah, 5 to
about
6
5,
hours.
6, yeah.
And there's days that I know that I'll go to bed. I'll go get rested. I'll be in bed by 9:30 because I just know that that day I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm fucking done. But when you start your day off already doing what you want to fucking do,
It's a good day.
Well,
how can you have a bad day?
I don't, dude. I'm sitting
Right.
with my dog. I'm watching guitar podcast or whatever the fuck I'm watching. I'm writing. I'm playing guitar. I'm drinking coffee that's delicious. Like, my day's already better than fucking 98% of motherfuckers out there because I made my day better first.
Hell yeah. I like
Fuck
that.
trying to squeeze it in at the end of the day between football practice and fucking mowing the grass.
Yeah.
That all gets done. I already got my shit that day before
that.
anyone else fucked with it.
Has the opportunity.
I want to thank you for coming on our show, Andy and Sharon, and being so honest about stuff. It was a pleasure. I'm sure everybody's happy to see the other side of Kelly's life, and thank you for sharing this personal part of your life. Like and subscribe. Send in some questions. You guys can just text this number, 234-200-5949. You can email us at notsotenderpodcast@gmail.com. Am I doing good, boys? Thank you, guys. Until the next show, what else? That's it.
Just be
Yeah,
nice.
thanks for
Be
having
nice.
Right,
Yeah, you're welcome.
Be nice, be kind.
Be
That's what
nice
you
to
always
people.
say.
And if not, fuck them up real good. Stay off them poles, boys.